So hello and welcome. Today I will show you how to make this wonderful ice cream. And as always, we start in a new document. And the first order of action, of course, is to delete the default code, as we will not need it. Instead, we're going to need a cylinder. And first step of action, of course, make it bigger. Of course, if you want to know what I'm pressing, you can see it always here in the corner. And let's go and make this one a little bit more pointy to the bottom. So let's make this one kind of here. And we're going to select this wonderful edge here and press Ctrl B and make this one a little bit curvy. And also let's add some more loop cuts with the mouse rail. And there we go, looking good enough. Of course, the thing is we will not need this top part, so we're just going to delete that face. And of course, let's go and make a wonderful extrusion and let go of it. Scale this one upwards. And of course, we're going to extrude upwards, so we have actually a lip. Let's go and select this one, extrude this, scale this one inwards, and press all. And of course, we're going to merge this one in, so we will not have these things later on. There we go. We refer to two vertices. Perfect. So let's go and make our wonderful cuts. And here we go. We're gonna of course get a little bit more because these are later on the thingies we will extrude in. So we have this wonderful iconic ice cream look. So we're gonna press I twice, and we're gonna scale this one in. There we go. We're going to press scale, but only on these two axes. There we go. And we can see we have this wonderful cone-shaped thing. So if we now would technically make a subdivision, it would also subdivide this one. So we don't want that. So we are going to go into the X-ray view and select all the parts here. And we're going to press N and increase the mean width. So we have a wonderful color here. That's all you need to know. And if you now wonderfully make this one, we can see the whole thing is not affected by it, and also make this one smooth. Let's go and make a little loop cut here. So we have this little edge thing. There we go, good enough. And with that, we have nearly the wonderful cone, except of course we need some color. So let's go and make the color. Of course, we have to change this the viewport shading so that you can see something. And let's change this one to a wonderful cone color. There we go. Let's also make maybe a loop cut. No, not there. There. And yeah, looking good enough. And now, of course, what we are missing is the ice cream itself. So let's go on to the preference editor and go to add-ons. We're going to enable the extra mesh object. If you don't have it here, then you have to get the extension here. So we just click here on install. I already have that, of course. And let's add a wonderful curve. Let's go for a spiral and the Archimedean. You can see it's not in the position we want because our wonderful 3D thing is there. Let's move this one up so it will be around the size of our wonderful cone, but of course you can change that one later. Let's of course go up in height. We don't want so many because this will in the end take a lot of processing power, so let's go for 4 instead. And of course we want multiple loops, so let's go for 3, 4. Let's go for 4. You can later change it, so no worries there. We're gonna change the wonderful curve to bendings here, and the control planes we're gonna put it onto automatic. There we go. This is looking good. So let's wonderful deselect these bottom part, scale them in. If you of course deselect everything there, now do the same thing here. So we have one that is slowly getting a little bit shorter at the top until we have something that we kinda think is okay. But of course you can change this one later on as you please. Also wonderfully went and make this one, but yeah, you can change this one later on. It just has to be something that we can look on later. So let's of course get our wonderful ice cream. So what we're gonna do is add a circle. Also, we don't want so many. Let's go for 12. Also move this one a bit here so you actually can see what I'm doing. And let's go to edit mode, go to select there and not make a loop cut. We're going to select every second of these. We're gonna scale them in so we have a little star shape. There we go. So the thing is, what we're gonna do is gonna select you, put you there to the beginning. and put the origin to the 3D cursor. So we have a start there. Let's go and also make you smaller, put you onto that thing. I should put them around there. Perfect. You should probably do something like this. There we go. There, good enough. So let's go and add not a material. We're going to do that later maybe. Let's go and add a screw, and let's go for the angle of 60. The screw, of course, let's go and just make it a little bit. There we go. And of course we can see it's now going up. That's nice and everything, but of course we want to go up more. Let's go and make an array. Of course that array should face upwards and not to the side, and of course it should be as long as our wonderful curve. There we go. Select the curve. You can see it's now pretty long, but that is what we want. And of course we want that thing to follow, of course, the curve. So we're just going to add a curve modifier, select the curve once again, and go to the z-axis. So we can see now it is following that thing. You can see it's a bit big, but that is something we can change. And we can see it now has these little lines here, so we are just going to merge them so we don't have the lines. And in addition to that, we are going to add a subdivision surface, so it actually looks like a little bit ice cream. So this is, well, looking all nice and dandy, but of course it's not completely going to the top. So let's go and add some iterations. There we go. And also the view spots shader should go down, so we actually have more processing power available. So let's go and take a look at these spirals. You can see it's a little bit too big, so let's first scale this one down. We can also scale the size of our screen, so Alt S. You can see here, making it a little bit smaller. Let's see around here. Looking decent enough. So of course, if we now select our thingies, our wonderful spirals, we can adjust the position of our ice cream. There we go. You will go out of sight. There we go. Meaning, you know, we'll just pull these things as you want them to be until you have a nice little thing that goes upwards. This one is a little bit, I don't want to say crooked, but it's not the best one. But of course, you can do as you want. Just following the tutorial is one thing, but of course adjusting it to your liking is another one. So of course you can do that. Let's also go back into our wonderful thing. Let's go and add some iterations. There we go until we are on the top. So of course the important thing for the top is we need to close that thing. So let's select the thing that is the end part and press Alt S and scale it down. You can see we have a little top here that's too much, so let's go back a step. Good enough. And of course scale this one also down, so we have something that can go up. Maybe we should actually add it back in. Of course you can play around with that as much as you want. Just you know, it has to look good for you. And as you can see, we have now a little turd of an ice cream, and maybe it's a little bit flat, but of course you can change that. So let's go and add some more shading. Also let's go and disable this one. Of course, something that well, ice cream is, it is of course reflective. So let's go and change the roughness a little bit down, so we have a little look here of reflectiveness. There we go. What I also can do, if you want some color, let's go and add the wave texture and a color ramp. There we go. Just plug them all in, plug them in, plug them in, and you can see now we have something like this. Let's go and add to, well, X, I think. Let's go and reduce that a little bit. There we go. Let's go for something like this. In this case, let's go and add something like strawberry. Of course, you can add a couple more to give this one a little transition here. There we go. And yeah, well, that was it actually. I hope you liked this one. Of course, this one is not looking as good as my wonderful preview because, well, I spent a little bit more time on that. This is just a tutorial. You have to make it good yourself. You know, adjust everything. And yeah, well, I'm talking too much again. I hope you like this one, and I see you hopefully next time. Bye.